Hello everyone, welcome back to theCUBE. Here in our Palo Alto studios, I'm John Furrier, your host of theCUBE. We are here as part of our CMO Leaders Series Summit, an open environment where all the top executives and leaders from startups to large enterprises talking about the role of the CMO. Obviously it was theCUBE and the NYSE Wired community coming together in a community way to kind of bring out the best advice, but also best practice, and also perspectives on AI. Sanjay Kumar from Arrcus is here with me. Sanjay, great to see you. Good to chat with you last night at the reception. And thanks for coming on theCUBE for the CMO Leaders Series. Great to have you.
Thanks so much, John. Pleasure to be here and look forward to chatting with you.
Shekhar and I had a chat on theCUBE at the NYSE actually, in our new studio there. And
that's right.
We got that video up on our YouTube channel. Folks interested in Arrcus, check out that video. Your role there on the go-to-market side is an important part of where you guys are at. CMOs from startups to enterprise, all looking at AI as an opportunity. And it's also a double-edged sword, right? You can cut both ways. So you can get productivity, cost efficiencies, but if you get over your skis, maybe it could not deliver. These are part of the conversations. Love to get your take as someone in the industry who's powering this next generation infrastructure. You're on the front lines as a startup, but also you're a marketer. Talk about how you see AI as an opportunity, because as you build the future for us and marketers at the platform level, I mean, not directly for market, but indirectly, you're enabling more faster capabilities. What are the challenges that you see?
Yeah, great question, John. So I just at the outset, and to give your viewers a perspective of what we do at Arrcus, we essentially deliver networking infrastructure, that's switching and routing, that helps connect different parts of the network. It could be connecting the edge to the data center to the cloud, and providing you with a seamless way to move your data and all your traffic back and forth. One of the key use cases that we enable is, in fact, networking for AI workloads. And that's where we're seeing a lot more demand and the need for a programmatic software-driven architecture rather than your traditional hardware-driven architecture. And in doing so, we provide customers with a lot more agility, a lot more flexibility, and the ability to get up and running, be able to deploy the network really quickly and deploy new services, drive revenue much quicker than they would ever be able to, at the same time having the independence of open networking. So that's really where we come from. And so the AI tsunami, so to speak, is really at the front and center of what we're doing from a solution standpoint. Now, as far as the challenges from a marketing perspective are concerned, right? And being a startup with a very, very small team of people, trying to constantly punch above our weight, trying to drive awareness for our solutions, trying to, of course, generate leads, like every CMO would tell you, getting leads and then having meaningful discussions with customers, converting those leads over to opportunities. Those are areas where one typically relies on automation and tools to help us. I think with AI coming in, there's an enormous opportunity over here for some of those workflows to get more automated, to get more intelligent, to help us with the qualification at the top of the funnel, be able to convert those to marketing qualified leads and to sales qualified leads and to opportunities and so on. So I think just going beyond whether it's integrated into the current tools that we use or others, I think there's a massive opportunity to help us really speed up that entire sales cycle and be able to engage with our customers, with potential customers better, and then convert those over to opportunities. So I think that's one area which will, where we feel this can help us from a scale perspective.
Yes.
And other areas where we think that this could possibly help us is, on the ideation phase, right? The ideation requires a good bit of research, a good bit of understanding of the use cases, customer requirements, and so on and so forth. And I think AI can play a really important role in helping us truly focus on what matters and be able to do our research more quickly. And then from there, as any marketer will tell you, storytelling is a big part of our job, right? And there, over there, I think AI can definitely help. All the AI tools that you have can definitely help you in being able to hone that messaging, create tight and compelling value propositions, and really be able to bounce around a bunch of ideas. And then come up with the one that really drives home the message in a compelling fashion. From there, when you get to execution, I think the other area that these AI tools can really help is in content generation, right? So using Gen AI to create more compelling content much more effectively, cost effectively, of course, which is something really important for any startup. And at the same time, do it much quicker, right? So it's amazing the kind of tools that you have out there that allow you to create videos in a very, very quick fashion, things that would have taken us weeks to ideate, create scripts, and actually get to execution can be done in a matter of minutes. So those are some areas where I think we see AI helping us from a marketing standpoint.
Sanjay, great input there, great insight from Mark. I love the line about your startup. You know, the theme, doing more with less, it's been cliche, but it's a reality still. I mean, whether you're a startup or a big company, you know, you always hear that phrase. I hear a lot of big companies, oh, we got to do more with less. Now, their less is like rich compared to what startups have. So like they have the big budgets, but sometimes they have inertia. Startups like yours are really focused on the value proposition. And what you guys are doing at Arrcus really is the work that's needed right now. But when as you progress through with Arrcus and make those networking solutions scalable, that's AI infrastructure. That's going to unleash more value for developers, more data. Marketers are waiting for that as an advance, but they got low-hanging fruit right now. You mentioned a few of them. I want to get your thoughts on the startup side, because I think this is where doing more with less is very acute. You have a product focus. And I heard some other marketers during the past couple of days share with me, both on camera and off camera, that a lot of people get wrapped around losing their focus on the North Star. In other words, it's easy to look at content generation. I'm going to write 100 blog posts a month. And they end up not actually doing the right curation of it, meaning they just think, oh, we're saving money by using AI. So, you know, agents and automation will help, but marketing, you got to keep your eye on the prize. Product, value, landing on the entry of the market you're going after, and going after and capturing it. That's the purpose, and getting sales, right? So, as a leader, you have to put that team together. Maybe a small team, handful of people, but you want to maximize the agents or automation under the covers, and be focused. That requires some, you know, marketing. Talk about that important human in the loop aspect, because the jobs aren't, I mean, technically they are going away if AI can take care of some of those heavy lifting, but the human value also is a premium. Talk about that piece.
That's a very, very great question. I think it's a extremely timely question as well. So yeah, I know you said doing more with less, right? And that's sort of the guiding principle for any business, more so for startups. Totally agree with that. I think what we're also excited about is, the ability to scale, and I think the ability to supplement what we currently do, help us do it better, help us do it faster. I think that's where we think that we see opportunities for AI, and not just a question of trying to do more with fewer people, for example. So we're not really seeing it today in the context of less people, but more about how can it help us deliver richer content? How can it help us deliver the solutions to the market quickly? Our engagement much more effectively, and then be able to capture and have those conversations and cut down the selling cycle and the marketing cycle, so that we can get to deal closure much quicker. I think that's where I think we're really excited about those kind of opportunities. While of course we're driving much more productivity, and the cost angle is definitely important, but the ability to supplement what we do, I think that's where we're seeing this as a solid partner in our journey, and being able to supplement our current capabilities or capabilities that we would have had to otherwise go outside for. I think we're able to bring a lot of those in-house pretty much at the click of a button, right? So that's where we really see some value. And outside of marketing, just marketing, I also wear another hat, which is product management. And we've been able to use AI very effectively to help us with uh, delivering better user interface for customers, for example. So developing on top of Chat GPT to get a more intuitive user interface for customers, to use things like Chat GPT to do knowledge sharing, as well as be able to help our customers with our knowledge, searching our knowledge base much more effectively. Those are some of the areas where we're using it in our engagement with customers from a product perspective. And at the same time, from an engineering perspective, we're also using a bunch of these tools to help us from a development perspective, from a coding perspective, and very importantly, from a test automation perspective as well. So, yeah, so we're able to take a look across the board in all our different functions and be able to start integrating AI. I think the other thing that's really exciting and different about this particular technology is that there are so many open source tools available out there that you can experiment, you can try them out with at very low risk, and then keep fine tuning them, essentially training the model to do a better job with each iteration. Things that you would have otherwise had to hire consultants for example, right? Or spend a lot of time trying to figure out what the right tool is. Here you can, jump in, fail fast, break things, and then yet be able to iterate really quickly. So that's very exciting for us.
We had a guest on earlier today. It's like being a movie director, because he had a movie background. He's like, you're the director and you don't always get it on the first take.
Yeah.
And so that also talks about iteration. And you mentioned product management. I think that is a huge point. I'd like to just double click on that, because in talking to some of the innovative marketers that have a lot of experience, I asked them, assume AI comes in, you have all this kind of aided capabilities, augmentation to your job, undifferentiated heavy lifting, the ability to hit some maybe breakthroughs. They say, great, I love it. You can help out on the undifferentiated heavy lifting, but it's the breakthroughs they focus on. What can they do that's breakthrough for the company? And I asked, how do you do that? And one of them said, it's like the triangle: product marketing, brand, and demand generation. Demand generation, lead generation, same thing. Those three things are the key aspects in the triangle, each point. And it's interesting because product marketing or product management has the product value in it. And
Yeah.
I asked why, and they said, well, brand is brand, because if people don't know who you are, then sales tends to fail. So, okay, check, brand. You can do more in your brand marketing. Product marketing is where the human in the loop can lay in some expertise. So that group weighs in. And then demand generation is just how do we get demand, whether it's direct sales, indirect, meetings, all the things that go on in that demand creation processes. And it's not just emails and demand generation campaigns, it's more demand gen, lunch and learns, roundtables, councils. So those are the areas that the marketers are focusing on. And I find it interesting because product marketing is so obvious. Product marketing, product management, some companies start to have it all in one. You do that basically. That's the product value proposition. It becomes the key tuning fork, if you will, into the music of the flywheel, because you got to make the music, right? So, product marketing becomes critical. Of course, brand. No one's going to debate brand. That's table stakes. You got to have the brand narrative. Of course, you can do more with your brand marketing, and of course, demand. You got to have the sales prospects. Do you agree? What's your reaction to that? And is that the high yield areas that would be involved in architecting kind of a new, modern approach to marketing?
Yeah, that's actually some very, very interesting stuff that you just mentioned over there. So if I just take that analogy itself, right, and take it a little further, what I'd say is product managers are writing the score, right? And then you've got product marketing that comes in from a storytelling perspective, and they create sort of, the entire orchestra. And then you've got demand generation that comes in, figures out how to amplify this and get this out. Where do you perform, right? And what are the different venues you perform, and so on and so forth. And each one of these areas, so from an AI perspective, I think on the product management side, where these things help us is we would have spent a lot of time earlier in trying to understand the competitive landscape, what are the capabilities that exist in the marketplace today, doing a whole bunch of research on that front, right? Because that's really important to understand where are you going to be able to drive differentiation. Helping understand, doing research around the use cases and stuff like that. Those are areas where, again, I can go to a tool and get that information and then keep iterating on top of that to fine tune the query and be able to hone in on what I think is going to be a differentiator. So that's so from a product manager's perspective, it's cutting down a lot of time that would have been spent grinding through these kind of details, right? And then, like I talked earlier, from a product marketing perspective, the act of storytelling, that's where AI, I think, helps you wordsmith very nicely, to be completely honest. It also keeps you sort of honest, right? And it keeps you honest in terms of making sure that you're not plagiarizing things, right? And not doing things that others have done. You might have a great idea and you think you're the first person to think about it, but then a quick search shows you that somebody else has already talked about that. So it helps you sort of guide you and navigate you through that process as well. And then from a lead generation or a marketing perspective, whether it is brand awareness that you're building or lead generation, which actually brand awareness drives lead generation. That's the ultimate goal. And that's where AI bridges that really nicely with the tools that are there and help you scale. So I don't know if I've addressed what you were asking.
No, it's a good riff on that, because I love the score, because you got to write the score, right? You got to write the music.
Right.
It's like an orchestra, right? Or a band, right? Whether you have one player, a violinist, or multiple actors in the orchestra, you got to practice, right? You got to get going. And this is where most challenges are, because people just think, we just adopt the new software, everyone go. It's really the iteration of phasing it in, right?
Right.
And whether you're a startup or a big company, it could be easier. Our startups are a lot easier because only a few people, but compared to like a big company, the change management and getting the muscle is key, but not without direction, right? The key is there. So we're kind of agreeing. I mean, we're talking to ourselves here, but in a way, that's what's coming out. Now, applying that to startups, because we've had a lot of big companies on in the B2B area. Startups in particular, the road is very thin. There's next round of funding, product success, product market fit, market product fit. These things, the risks are there, of course, with the reward, there's upside. So you guys are doing well. As you look at decision making, who's on the team, which tools do I use? How do you keep up with the pace? How do you think about it as you try to do your job and assess the time it's going to take to either get the tools and implement them? What muscles do you build? It's like going to the gym, right? What do you think about?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it is the Wild West, right? And it's not as though anyone has quite figured out how to do it. There is an opportunity in AI to help startups completely come up with a go-to-market plan. Right? By the way, you can do that with Notebook LLM today, and it will actually spit out for you an entire marketing plan based on what input you give it. But that's not going to be sufficient. So I think some of the things that keep me up are probably in the area of scouting for the right tool, trying to make sense of everything that is out there, because there's a new tool a day, or actually several tools a day, claiming to do the same thing. So sifting through all of that, finding the ones that will actually help us, Those are some of the challenges I think that surround this entire journey. Talking to people definitely helps. Understanding from other peers in the industry in similar situations in startups as to what they're using and sharing that kind of information, I think that's invaluable in kind of helping navigate that entire area and being able to find the one that really works for you. But of course, like I said earlier, the good news is you don't have to worry too much, and these are not very expensive experiments, which is great news for our CFO, for our CEO, which is I'm not going to spend too much money in experimenting with all of these tools.
Just keep your eye on the scoreboard. That's the sale.
Correct.
That's the goal. Taking that value proposition, competing on value, having a good product, offering it to the customer, having them pay you for the product, and then you keep the customers in there. The game is so simple, right? It's like a sport. Just score some goals. Sounds so easy.
It all
Kids
sounds
always
so
say,
simple.
Dad, it's not that easy to score. Soccer, the goal's really big. Just kick it in there. Get out there. No, but this is the thing. You've had such a great career. You've spanned a lot of big companies. You had a lot of growth, companies from startup to success, now back at the startup. You've seen the organizations. What advice would you give CMOs today, young CMOs or experienced CMOs, young CMOs rising up through the ranks, or existing CMOs in a big company, as they look at the big picture, realize they have to run into the activity, lean in? What advice would you give them to, one, engage? How do they take? What approach should they take? I know it depends by industry, but what would be your advice generally?
Yeah, I mean, advice is a strong word, but I'm happy to share my perspective, which is essentially never lose sight of what that, as you said, what the North Star or the key objective is. Make sure that that is clearly laid out, depending on what stage your company is in and what stage you are in the marketplace, whether it's a product market fit that you're trying to address, or whether it's a scaling the aspect, or it's taking market share. Depending on where you are in that life cycle, you will have a different objective. And figure out what those short-term, mid-term, and long-term objectives are. Come up with a roadmap, and then make sure that you have buy-in from all the stakeholders on that particular plan. And then once you have that, then it just cascades into a bunch of different work streams that you and your team will sort of get around. And then the other thing I expect is make sure you are measuring on a regular basis. So metrics are extremely important. To agree on the metrics, to have those metrics in place, to constantly take a look at those metrics, look back, and then try and figure out how that needs to be fine-tuned as you move forward. So, get bruised, pick yourself up, and keep running. Pass the ball around, to use your analogy, and get to the goal.
Well, Sanjay, it's great to have you on. I love your expertise. Thanks for sharing those great insights. For the final minute we have left, put a plug in for what you're working on, the company, momentum, updates, the cool things you're working on. Take a minute to put the plug in.
I appreciate that, John. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So at Arrcus, as I mentioned, we provide networking infrastructure that's modern, that's flexible, that is programmable and can reside on any kind of hardware, as a result of which we address use cases around networking for the edge, in the data center, across data centers, and connectivity in the cloud as well. Excuse me. I think some of the exciting stuff that we're doing is in the area of enabling Gen AI applications at the edge, for example, connectivity for AI workloads within the data center, as well as wherever they might be distributed. We've got the Mobile World Congress coming up. Put a plug for our participation at MWC in Barcelona in March, early March, where we'll have very many exciting demonstrations, showcases, as well as announcements coming up at that point of time.
We'll have to have you guys come by theCUBE and say hello to the team there. Of course, we'll be there with a big stage. Put a plug in for theCUBE. I want to say thank you for your insights, and great to chat with you last night. Got to know you at the table with Elliot Donnelly and the crew at the NYSE Wired, theCUBE and the NYSE Wired open community coming together, sharing insights. We're going to do more of these. CMO leader events. Again, sharing the knowledge, it's early days. And so
Yeah.
appreciate your experience and expertise sharing with the community.
Thanks so much, John. Really enjoyed meeting you in person and enjoyed this session as well.
Okay.
Thanks so much for what you guys do.
Thank you. We appreciate you too. Okay, this is theCUBE. We bring you all the action. This is the CMO Leaders. This is where the action is happening. Every single vertical in every industry, every persona in every enterprise, if they have workflows, if they have data, if they have domain expertise, they can have intellectual property that could be commercialized and operationalized by AI to help everyone keep an eye on the North Star, which is more sales, increased business performance, happier people. Of course, AI will bring that to them, and the CMO's jobs will be hopefully much different. And in the future, of course, we'll be tracking it all on theCUBE and siliconeagle.com. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE. Thanks for watching.